let's move on to our fourth main topic today. Ashley, you got it?
I got it. All right. Chris Maigaard. Hi, John. Considering Endgame just surpassed Titanic's box office after just 2 weeks, it has proven to be a juggernaut, and there is only a little yellow mouse standing in its way. Does Detective Pikachu stand a chance against this mad titan? I really want Pikachu to be successful, but it looks like there is a good chance that Endgame can crush it. Am I totally off here?
Well, here's the funny thing. When you look back exactly at a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about this very specific thing, Rob. Like, how long will Endgame be number one at the box office? How long will it be? And at the time, I said, I think there's a real good chance Detective Pikachu will be number one at the box office on its opening weekend. But I was assuming that Endgame would probably make around the $280 million opening weekend range. It ended up being $357 million. So I was then expecting $180 million second weekend, which then brings us to the Pikachu weekend. And I thought, well, if it's 180 second weekend, it'll probably end up being around 90-ish on its third weekend. Can Pikachu beat 90 million to be number one? And I wasn't sure about that anymore. However, the landscape has changed. Avengers Endgame didn't come in at $180 million on that second weekend. It came in at 145, which, if we're going to say a normal second week to third week drop off as any other film, probably somewhere between a 45 to 55% drop from weekend 2 to weekend 3. Not to mention, there's a lot of people very excited about Pikachu on top of that. And you could get some of the audience that maybe would have gone to see Endgame again that weekend might instead go to see Pikachu. Now we're looking at an Endgame that roughly could be coming in around 75 million on its third weekend. And I'm going to go back to the original prediction. I think Pikachu can beat 75 million. I don't know that it will. There's some people saying it's going to come in a little bit lower than that. There are some people saying it's going to come in higher. But I think there's a decent chance that Pikachu, with all the enthusiasm, the popularity of the brand, all that kind of stuff, I think there's a decent shot here that Detective Pikachu actually ends up being the number one film at the box office next weekend over Endgame. Rob, we've seen a bigger drop on the second weekend than we were anticipating. Now, what do you think about Pikachu versus Endgame on weekend 3? Who comes out on top in that?
Well, the word on the street for Pikachu is not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, me neither.
And I've been sort of surprised. Actually, I was even surprised by some of the reviews. I think Endgame's still going to take weekend 3. I think.
So you think Pikachu makes under 75, something like that?
I do. I think Pikachu will open strong, but not as strong as I would have thought, say, a week ago.
What about the whole notion that, if the whole theory about how front-end loaded Endgame has been, is there a possibility here that we could see Endgame take bigger than the normal 45 to 55% drop from weekend 2 to weekend 3, and maybe it gets like a 55 to 65% drop? Like, could that come into play here, or do you think it's going to hold pretty steady in that 45 to 55%
I think
range?
it's going to hold steady. I mean, just from the feedback we keep getting from people, I think people are going to go again and again, and the people that saw it the second week are going to want to see it again. I mean, from my experience, there was a girl I grew up with her. I went to kindergarten, junior high, high school. She's the most non-Marvel person ever. She wanted to go see Endgame. She wanted to dip her feet into it. She watched Iron Man. I told her what she should watch. She's a complete Marvel convert. She's going through the entire film cycle now. She can't wait to get to Endgame. I think there's a lot of people. There's discovery happening, John, and I think that we're going to see I think we're going to see a hold. I think week 3 is going to have a surprising hold with Endgame. I could be wrong, but I think we're going to see a slim drop off, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Despite that whole front end loaded thing.
Yeah.
Okay. It all depends on that drop off. I think Pikachu's got a chance. Now, as of right now, Detective Pikachu has a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, which means the vast majority of them are liking it. I was expecting a little bit higher, but it's looking pretty good. I'm going to go see it tonight, as a matter of fact, and I will let you guys know what I think about it. But what do you guys think? What's going to be the number one? What movie's better? That's not the question. What do you think, honestly, now that you're looking at all the numbers, do you guys think will be the number one film at the box office next weekend? Will it be Endgame? Will it be Detective Pikachu? Will it be Hellboy making a big resurgence? Who knows? Let us know what you guys think.